Hey guys, it's Vicky, and today I'm here to share with you another tag video. I saw this one and I just had to do it because it's Nonfiction November and it's a great tag and I wanted to do it. It is the Nonfiction on Booktube tag created by the wonderful Olive over at A Book Olive. I will link her original video down below. As you guys know, she is the one who is kind of heading the whole Nonfiction November thing that's going on this month and has been going on for a few years now. So yeah, let's go ahead and dive into the questions. So question one is, how much nonfiction do you read? And I went back and counted, and so far this year I have read 12 nonfiction books. So I guess if you average that out, it's about a book a month, probably. Yeah, probably about a book a month. Question two, what kind of nonfiction videos do you make or do you want to make on BookTube? I tend to, the only videos I've really done so far regarding nonfiction are recommendation videos. And then obviously my normal kind of wrap-ups or book reviews. Yeah, I think I would like to continue to do those. And maybe do more reading vlogs that center around nonfiction, or maybe try to break down my recommendation videos, maybe by a subgenre or something like that. Question three is, what's your favorite subgenre of nonfiction? Definitely memoirs. I gravitate towards those. I definitely, of the nonfiction books I read, that's the most that I read from a subgenre is memoirs. There's just something about them. I love hearing other people's stories, especially when they live through something or have a completely different life than I have lived, because I just love to get those different perspectives. I feel like it just makes me understand the world better. Question four is, do you have a favorite nonfiction book? I do. And surprise, surprise, it's a memoir. It is Angela's Ashes by Frank McCourt. I'm also a huge fan of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas by Hunter S. Thompson, but I didn't want to say that one because I feel like I always say that. And then one a favorite that I have read since I started this channel 2.5 years ago. My favorite nonfiction, one of them anyway, that I have read in the past 2.5 years is definitely In Cold Blood by Truman Capote. This is fantastic writing, just fantastic. Question five is, what do you think keeps people from wanting to read more nonfiction? I think it's definitely intimidation. They tend to probably think it's going to feel like they're at school or it's going to be really dry or boring. And they can be, depending on the topic, especially if you're trying to force yourself to read about something that you don't have an interest in, you're not going to enjoy it very much. So I think it depends, but I think mostly people are intimidated by it. Question six is, why do you like nonfiction? I think it's just the curiosity in me. I just, like I said, I love to learn about other people's stories, and that whole saying that says truth is stranger than fiction is very true. There's some really interesting stories out there that have happened, and I just love to learn more about my world and to broaden my horizons in terms of the way I see the world, and I think reading nonfiction definitely does that. Question seven, what's a nonfiction book you read because of BookTube? For that, I'm going to say Evicted by Matthew Desmond. I don't think I had even heard of that book until I believe it was Lindsay over at Lindsay's Little Library, did a wrap up and she talked about it, and I immediately was like, I need to get my hands on this book. And I think I went on to Overdrive and put the audiobook on hold. And I think I had to wait a little while for it, but it was worth the wait. It's a fantastic read, and I would have never heard of it if it wasn't for Lindsay, so thank you, Lindsay. Question eight, what's the best nonfiction book you've read lately? And I kind of went back and looked at the 12 books that I have read this year that were nonfiction, and the one that I feel like I learned the most from, and that I really, it kind of just opened my eyes to things, was, I have to pull it up because it has a very long subtitle. It was called Never Home Alone: From Microbes to Millipedes, Camel Crickets, and Honeybees, The Natural History of Where We Live by Rob Dunn. So this is more of a science nonfiction book, which I don't typically read, but it was so interesting. And it basically was just this book about how we should not be afraid to incorporate plant life and things like that into our daily lives, and how not having that sort of like biodiversity in our homes is actually very damaging to us. And it was just a fascinating read, and that's something I would typically pick up, but it was great and I really enjoyed it. Question 9, what are some of your nonfiction reading goals? And I think that kind of ties back to how I said I mostly read memoirs and like kind of social issues types of books. I would like to broaden my nonfiction scope and maybe try to read more science-based stuff, maybe more stuff about nature, or about history in general, because I don't read a ton of that, and I just want to learn more about it. Question 10 is, what's your advice for incorporating more nonfiction into your reading diet? And I would say start with a topic that you're already really into. I know like in high school and stuff, when I started to read more nonfiction, I started out kind of reading about rock bands that I liked. So like if there's a band that you really like their music, see if you can get a copy of a book about how they formed and all that, and like maybe like what their writing process is like or what their kind of history is like, because it's already something that you're interested in. Or like if you're really into, I don't know, like a certain animal, see if you can get a book about that animal or about a place that you maybe want to travel to or something like that. Start in that kind of scope, because you already have an interest. And then I would also say definitely try audiobooks. I find that nonfiction is just it's so much easier for me to process when I'm listening to it, because it's kind of like listening to a podcast. So it just seems to like go better for me, especially if it's a topic that's a little more difficult to read. They definitely go better if you're listening to them. So definitely try to get your hands on some nonfiction audiobooks if you are new to nonfiction. And then the bonus question is to give some recommendations of nonfiction. I actually just a couple weeks ago did a nonfiction recommendations video, kind of in anticipation for Nonfiction November. So I will link that down below, and I'll link it also in the cards. So if you want to check that out, you can get some recommendations from me. All right, guys, so those are the questions to the the nonfiction booktube on Booktube Tag. I can't even say the thing right. Nonfiction on Booktube Tag. I hope that you enjoyed this tag. If you want to do this one, go ahead, consider yourself tagged. And thanks again to Olive for creating this tag. She makes some of the best tags on Booktube, I will say. Yeah, I really love her tag videos, so thank you to her. And yeah, if you want to let me know what some of your answers to the questions, please do. And of course, if you have some nonfiction recommendations for me, please let me know, because I'm all ready for it. I want all the recommendations. All right, guys, I hope you're having a great week, and I'll talk with you soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.